Hey everyone, welcome to another video. My name's Steve. If you're new to my channel, please don't forget to hit that subscribe button. These videos are all about my Porsche 992 and investments I've made recently in an attempt to try and pay for the car and how I might pay for cars in the future. I've uploaded another video about how I managed to invest the value of my 992 and use the profits from that investment to pay the monthly payments on the PCP finance. After making that video, I started to wonder how I would be able to move on from the 992. The 911 was a car I've always wanted to own, and I've eventually managed to purchase the latest version of that car, albeit it was the base entry Carrera 2 model. Whenever I've bought cars and I've looked at what I'm buying, I've always tried to move on to the next level of car from the one that I previously owned if I was able to afford to do it. As most people do, and I was no different up until about a year ago when I started making investments, I had to take the monthly finance payments out of what I was earning every month from my job. I still work full time and I still try to make sure that whatever I'm paying for does actually come out of my monthly wage without me having to touch anything else that I may have invested or I may have saved. So after working out all those figures on that other video and realizing how much I was earning from my investments every month, I wondered, what could I actually move on to that's not a 992? Thing is, what could I buy that only leaves me with one car? I'm not sure I'm going to be able to use some of the cars I would maybe want to jump up to as an everyday driver, not to mention the costs that would come with using that on a daily basis. So if we look at that sensibly from a financial point of view, what is the natural progression that I can move on to with that car that's going to give me the most money back for mine if I trade it in? If I was to trade my 992 in at the dealer, the next level I would want to jump up to is probably going to be the Porsche Turbo. The question really is, with that, in 2 years' time, could I actually trade mine in for a new Porsche Turbo or not? Well, I've looked at the figures, I've run through the spec that I would go with, and I'm going to show you now how close I can get and whether I'm going to be able to afford it when the time comes. Now, if I throw a quick comparison up there from the Porsche website so you can see both cars side by side, you'll be able to see what sort of jump that I would be making if I moved on. Biggest thing everybody's going to start pointing out is really going to be the extra performance. Now, that extra performance comes in at 195 PS. The biggest difference bringing that performance around is that 3.8 litre engine over the 3 litre that's in my car. So that is the size of engine jump from the Carrera to the Turbo. You see both cars are PDK on that comparison. The Turbo doesn't come without the PDK. There is no manual choice on the configurator. I don't believe it comes with a manual. On top of that, you also can't order it without the Sports Chrono on it. It is a standard free part, but I say free, it's included in the extra price that comes with the car at the £135,000 mark. With that extra performance, we jump up into the 23 mile per gallon range there. It's a little bit less economical than my car, but it's better than I thought it would be, and I've already shown you in other videos what the cost of the MPG is, and it does seem to be quite accurate against what they're saying there, and I do believe in that case that the Turbo is going to be accurate to the number that they've put up. So other than that increased performance, what else comes with the car as standard? Well, as part of that starting price, we've got the performance upgrade, but we've also got these following extras. So we're bumped up at the entry-level Turbo with the 14-way seats. So you get metallic paint included. The Sports Chrono is a standard feature that you can't take off. You get the turbo wheels. You also get different aero with the turbo wing on the back, and as part of that performance upgrade you get the all-wheel drive that comes from the Carrera 4. The standard light package on there is the PDLS Plus system. Obviously included in that you get some of the performance upgrades that are on the S models of the car and not the C2, and they just carry on up the range. So Porsche are quite methodical with that car here. They start with the C2, which has got their standard entry-level spec on, if you want to call that entry-level. As the price increases on these models, you'll see that not only do you get the performance upgrade from the engine, you also get some of the extras that you would usually pay for. The one thing that doesn't come included on the Turbo that I'm surprised isn't included in the price is the sports exhaust. You get the turbo exhaust system on there on the back with the different exhaust pipes. You can't add the sports exhaust if you want to, but again, that is still a paid extra. I just would have thought at the turbo level that probably would have been included with some of the other parts that they've added on there. So to work out whether I think I might be able to afford this car in 2 years' time when I reach the end of my contract term, I've actually built the car in the configurator, and I'll put the summary on the screen now so you can see what it is that I've chosen. Now, if you've watched the video about me building my own car and some of the comments I've made, I didn't include quite a lot of extras that people said should come with the car. You know, the Sports Chrono and the sports exhaust and other bits and pieces, but that Turbo comes with quite a high spec on it already, which really I don't think I need to go above and beyond. If I could take them off and make it cheaper, I probably would, but you know, it comes with the price, so that's where I have to start with. The one thing that isn't included in this, but it does seem to come on the Turbo S after checking, is the folding mirrors. It's a £240 extra. They're an addition on the Turbo S, but they're not on the Turbo, which I've added them on to include the price there, which brings me up to £134,640 before road tax and registration. So the question is, in 2 years' time, will my car have enough value in for me to just move on with this finance and jump up into a turbo and pay the monthly payments? Here's the finance example that comes up on the configurator, and I'll walk you through the figures and we'll see whether I can afford it or not. So you see I've taken the 3-year period, I've done it at 5,000 and I've put the maximum deposit in. That deposit comes in at £33,660. I put about 24,000 down on my car, which I know some of it I'm going to lose through depreciation, but I did work out on the video with the finance on the properties that I was going to hopefully have about 13,000 in the car by the time I came to trade it in. If I'm trading the car back in at the dealer, hopefully they'll give me most of, if not all, towards the next car, hoping that that valuation is more or less what I think it's going to be. But that would still leave me £20,000 shy in that, so I'd have to put some more money into the car. You can see that the monthly payment comes out there at £893.58. That's kind of double what I'm paying now. I've worked out what my monthly profit is from the houses and it doesn't really cover £900, so I think I'm going to have to look a little bit differently at this and see what else I can do. In 2 years' time, there will be some new turbos that are 2 or 3 years old. They came out in 2020, so in 2022 there might be some second-hand models around. Would I be able to afford one of them? Pulled the same trick out as usual, and I've been on Auto Trader and looked at 3-year-old turbos. Now they are the 991 model, but at the 3-year mark we'll be able to work out roughly what they might be 3 years depreciated against the new price when they came out. So I've pulled up this example. I don't know what all the cost extras are. I've put them on the screen. A lot of those extras come on the 992 turbo now, so there might have been a few of them already included in the price, but this car comes in at £94,000. If we take a look at the list price of the 991 turbo, you can see that it comes out at £126,925. Now if we take that car that's up for sale there at the dealer and we just take it as a percentage of the original list price, we'll be able to get a rough idea of how far it's appreciated after 3 years and what kind of value drop that it's sustained. So that car at the minute is £94,000, and if we divide it by 126,925, it comes out at 73.5% of its original value. You can see if we nip back to that finance example that that £94,000 at the minute is higher than the residual 3-year final payment on the finance that I'm looking at on a new 992. So that's a good sign to start with. If I look at it very simply and I take that final payment on that finance and I divide it by the new price on that 992, we've got 87,363 divided by 134,640 makes it 64% of its value. So the finance company is basically telling you that it should be worth at least 64% of its value in 3 years' time. If that 991 is valued at about 72.5% against the original list price, which, okay, I haven't quite added it all up, but I think it'll be close. We're looking at around maybe as an average of 70% there of what the car might be worth in 3 years' time. So if we do a 70% of 134,640, we do actually come out at £94,248. So it's not too far off, it's not a bad rule of thumb. So the question is, would I be able to make that step up into maybe a second-hand 992 in 2 years' time? Well, looking at the Porsche configurator, all I've done is take the 4S that's got a base value of just under 100,000, and I've done the finance calculator on that, and I will put that on the screen now and we'll take a look at it. At the end of my 3 years, I think I might have something like £13,000 in the car. I've dropped it to 15 on their deposit scale because it gives me 15% of the total value as a deposit. That would bring my 35 monthly payments out at £952.85. So taking a look at that finance with just 15% down, I'm looking like I'm going to have to put in another £500 a month on the monthly payments, or I'm going to have to come up with some more deposit at the front end there to be able to afford something at that value. So at the moment, where I'm sitting, it's looking a little bit difficult to get there, but 2 years' time, let's see what happens, see what the market's like, see what my car's worth, see where I'm going to go from there, but maybe I'll have to come up with some alternatives in the meantime. That 992 Turbo is the first thing I've looked at. I'm going to start having a look around, see what else there is, see how I might be able to finance it. If anybody's got any specific cars they would move on to from a 992, stick them in the comments. I'll take a look. I'll see what sort of values they're at and whether it would be something I would move on to. If you've enjoyed the video, please hit the like button. If you want to see more about these videos and things about finance on the cars, please hit that subscribe button, and I will see you again in another video. Thank you very much. Bye.